Welcome back, guys. I want to once again add something to the way that we're going to be proceeding from now on. So when you're going to Dark Souls your first time, there's a number of quests that you really want to do going through because they will greatly benefit you as you get further in the game with certain difficult bosses. The other thing about it too is that there's also NPCs and whatnot that you want to pick up along the way that how you treat that NPC or how you talk to that NPC could result in that NPC then hating you and trying to fight you later on, and just sort of certain little things. And then there's also NPCs that you want to pick up to either learn like new sorceries, new pyromancies if you decide to go that playstyle. So from here on out, at the start of each video, I'm going to try and include specific moments when we're going to the quest steps in the share room, creator room, whatever it is for the PlayStation. You can actually add text on screen. So what I'm going to try and do is I'm going to try and put the timestamps for when I'm interacting with specific quest points that you don't want to miss. So if you're trying to still do a semi-blind run, you can just very specifically touch upon those key points. But for most sections, the simple fact of the matter is the way the quests work is that you want to do them before you kill the boss. So if you're trying to do these areas blind and then want to go back through, you'll be able to just go through the area and know that once you reach the boss, like, okay, don't kill the boss, and then you can just run through and hit up the quest points at that point. But yeah, so from here on out, I'm going to try and cover quests going into it and try and give you a heads up on how many videos it's going to be per zone. Unfortunately, Undead Settlement is such a large zone, it's probably going to end up being 3 videos. It's going to be at least 2 for sure, but this is a very large zone with a lot of enemies and a lot of quest steps right here, ironically enough. There's at least 3, 4, 5 quests. I'm trying to think real quick. Mound, Bridge, Pyro, Giant, Irana. Yeah, 5 quests. No, Sigurd 2, so 6 quests. 6 quests on just this little area that we need to touch upon. So for this one, we're going to actually be covering some quests that we could have done already for the High Wall of Lothric, and then we're going to come back and deal with at least 2 of the quests right out of the gate. So with that being said about the quests, there's a quest that we want to do right here out of the gate, and then we're going to go back to Firelink Shrine, talk to a bunch of people, deal with those quests. We're probably going to get sent back to High Wall of Lothric to deal with the quest. I know we already did Geralt, but there's another quest that involves talking to an NPC in Firelink before we can do it. So let's go ahead and head down here and hit that one quest, because that gate right there is the gate to the Undead Settlement. We need to deal with this quest before we go through that gate even. So what's going to happen is that gate's going to open, a bunch of dogs are going to run out. These guys here are pretty docile, just like the guys in the last zone, but the dogs aren't. So while the dogs are focusing on them, you want to get in here and try and take out a dog or 2. So we got 1. That's 2. And that's the last guy, so this dog should target us now. Okay. Pulling the lever, opening the gate, but like I said, we're not going to be going there just yet. We're going to be running back towards the broken bridge over here. Behind this cart, there's 2 dogs. So we just want to keep that in mind. Have full stamina as we come around the corner. Cut the corner tight, so you get the opening hit. You're going to take some damage from one, but that's okay. We got the other one right away. Nice alluring skull, which isn't really helpful right now. All of these are just husks except for one. Talk to him real quick. Accepts his services. And he goes back to Firelink Shrine. Alright, now that we're back in Firelink Shrine, real quick. No, we don't have enough to level up. That's okay. But while we were here, there is 4 people for sure we want to talk to. So this is Hawkwood. We want to talk to him and exhaust his dialogue. I'm just going to sit there and mash X to get through it. When you're in your game, you can actually sit there and listen to what he says. We also want to talk to our Firekeeper. We want to talk to the Handmaiden. And talk to Andre. He's not really saying anything important, but he has a few different ending lines that change. We were lucky enough to already kill the Swordmaster. And I showed you guys that trick. You don't have to kill him. He's only summonable for 2 fights, and the second fight you can summon him from isn't until much later in the game. So if you want to wait till you're leveled up better to challenge him and take him out, by all means. He doesn't go anywhere. He just stays right there. We don't need to worry about anything else real quick. Giralt is here. If we talk to him, he stays here for the moment. We're going to be dealing with his quest actually very quickly here, so we'll be back to talk to him rather shortly.
Goodbye.
Now for the guy that we actually just got. So the guy we just got is Yol of Launder. He sits down here. Now Yol has a really weird mechanic to him. Just talk to Leland, exhaust his dialogue. So he has this weird mechanic where he has draw out 2 strength, right? Draw out 2 strength gives you a free level for your deaths. The problem is you have to die so many times in order to get each level. He'll give you 5 levels first playthrough. We want to level up our strength. And if I remember correctly, it's literally like 2, 6, 10, 12, and 16. All I remember is the last one is at 16. So after you died 16 times, then you can come get all 5 out of him. He sells a few spells if you're a mage and need some of those. But until I die a few more times, he won't give me any more free levels. So one of the strategies that is often employed for this is to literally just sit here in Firelink Shrine and keep running out the door and off the cliff edge. Personally, I'm not going to worry about it just that much right now. But we also want to come up here and talk to Leonhard. Here's a crack red-eyed orb. We're going to talk to him a bunch more. And actually, because of the way his quest line is, okay, so I just want to cover real quick. I killed him. The entire reason I killed him is because the quest step that he gives is kind of a pain in the ass. So basically, you saw I talked to him, right? Well, you have to go kill the boss and then come talk to him again, and then he gives you the lift chamber key. And then it gives, and that key is to the tower in the high wall, and it's basically, his entire quest line is essentially getting you to invade people. If you're not interested in it, then don't worry about it. But I'm pretty sure he was the last person we had to talk to. But once we get the key from him, if you want to follow his quest line and you're trying to get as much of this out as possible in one run, basically just talk to him that one time and then wait until after we do the boss for Undead Settlement and then come back and talk to him again. And you'll be at the same point, because at that point he'll give you the key. And then after he gives you the key, you just come back and talk to him again, and that's pretty much the extent of his quest line until later on. And when we get to that point later on, I'll discuss it with you, bring it up at that point. But yeah, once you get the key from him, I kill him because I don't care to deal with him later on. So that's literally the only reason why I kill him. He's not a particularly easy fight. I don't recommend killing him if you don't have to, but I prefer to, just because I don't like dealing with him later on when it's just kind of a pain in the ass. Anyways, once you have the lift chamber key, you basically just go down to the bottom floor again. Oh shit, I thought I was going to be able to do that. And it's for this door right here. And basically just ride the elevator. So, once you reach the bottom of the elevator, your goal here is to essentially kill the one guy in black standing right there directly above my head. Everybody else is dead already. You want to push forward slowly on the left analog stick. There's no other items around here. And just walk. And the reason you're going to walk is because you can try and get a backstab to start this fight off. I won't lie. So this is a Dark Wraith. Dark Wraiths are known for being extremely aggressive. They also have this fucking little aura bullshit that lets them block your attacks just like a shield, even though it is nothing, although it's not an actual shield. Like, you don't get it yourself. You can farm Dark Wraith all day long, you don't get that fucking spell, and it irritates the shit out of me. As you can see, I'm essentially just running away, throwing fireballs. I'm essentially trying to get him to, if I could stop getting hit with bullshit thrusts, I'm essentially trying to get him to thrust and then throw a fireball before he puts the shield up again. Unfortunately, the timing is really tight, so I'm essentially just trying to get him to do slashes or attacks that I can easily dodge, and then throw the fireball while he's still reeling, but it's not easy, unfortunately, and I'm still getting stabbed a lot. Yeah, this is a very difficult fight, and if you can't do it now, then waiting until later on will actually be very helpful too. But for right now, I'm trying to get it done early to show it can be done early. And the result is more or less me just getting my ass kicked. Let's get the last Estus in. Because now comes the really fun part. I'm going to essentially have to try and roll in close, again with hopefully the first swing, because if I have to try and trade blows, I'm not going to live. And yep, sure enough, I get it. Red-eyed orb, woo, okay. Like I said, you essentially just kill him, and then if you're following the questline properly, you go back and talk to Leonhard again, and then he basically just gives you some more stuff, and then nothing else happens till later on. Alright guys, so picking up where we just left off, all you missed was me basically going back up to the top of the tower and teleporting to the other bonfire, and then making my way back to the gate, which I already showed you how to do. So, now to actually proceed into Undead Settlement. Alright, we chat everybody up. There's one guy, he's going to try and run away, but I'm going to chase him down real quick before he can. As I mentioned before, there's a bonfire lily right here that I could have just gone to, but I wanted to compartmentalize, you know. You gotta be careful with these guys because, I hate to say it, the dude with the lantern is not always the more passive-aggressive one. Sometimes he's the more aggressive one, and then the pitchfork guy sits back. Either way, basically, just want to lure them out and wait to see who's going to be super aggressive and rush you and which one isn't. I know we keep hearing, and you can see the archer in the background firing. He's actually a really nice guy once you get to know him. But, yeah, he's going to be a pain in the ass that we're going to run into here in a little bit. Maybe in the second video, maybe the first, but probably the second. Alright, once we're in here, you want to try and angle it to cut the body down. Small leather shield. We're going to have one of the little guys, hooded guys, drop in. Since I know he drops in right here at the stairs and I know his trigger is right here, I basically just took a few steps forward, and as soon as I heard the little nit for him dropping, I turned around and just came back and got him before he could even swing. And this is the part about the quest that we actually want to cover. So we're covering, right now we're doing Geralt. And for Geralt, you basically want to come out here, and be careful when you do this, but take a swing and knock that item down. If you fall, it's okay, you'll see the way around to it in a second, but you want to knock that item down for sure. Block to get through that guy's attack. Got repair powder. Most of these guys, there's not a whole lot to explain. It's pretty straightforward, the same mechanics that we've been doing since we first spawned in. Either block or spin around them, and basically just wait for them to swing. And then you get your opening there. So with these little hooded guys, you gotta be very careful because they're actually super aggressive. And if they hit you, they tend to have surprisingly high damage and very long combos. If you see an opening and you want to swing beforehand, cool, go for it. But usually I approach them with shield up, so if they do swing, it's just like the dogs, and then I get the reflective bounce on them, and then I can take them out. I feel like there was an item in here that I missed, but it doesn't look like it. Alright, and if you fell, then this is about where you'll land, and if not, then there's the item right here. This is Loretta's Bone, and if you were paying attention to Geralt's questline, this is the item he wanted you to get. So, now here's the fun part. As you can see, there's a lot of guys right here. So what you're going to try and do is you're going to aim yourself up right here, pull out your fireballs, and hopefully get lucky. Gotta love explosive barrels. If you can't get lucky and you can't get the aim right, that's okay. If you go up and just take a swing at the first guy and then immediately back up, you should only pull those 3 guys. It's a little bit difficult to deal with, but if you just basically just keep running back, keep hitting the one that's coming at you first, you should do okay. Now we're going to keep slow walking. We don't want to run because we don't want to try and trigger more than we're able to handle. And we're going to do the same thing with these guys. And try and activate the explosive barrels behind them. I'm surprised this guy didn't die from that, but we're just going to try and sneak around here. Okay, that's him dealt with. We're basically trying to take out as many of these little guys as possible before we activate the big witch there in the center. Okay, witch is awake. So, I hate to say it, but she's another one of those ones that she hits like a tank, which is why you'll notice I'm keeping an eye on her while I'm going around to actually deal with the other guys, because the other guys are super easy. It's just her that I need to worry about. And honestly, her scythe attack is what I'm worried about. I mean, yeah, it can bleed you, it can do some serious damage. What I'm really worried about is another move she has where she sets herself on fire and then gives you a big old freaking hug. Okay, that's gnawing. It's a spell that induces bleed. So you gotta watch out for that. And that's what that meter at the bottom is. If that meter fills up, I'm going to suddenly take a whole mess of damage at once, and that's the bleed effect. Here comes gnawing again. Here comes the fire hug. Get my hits in while I can. Dodged way too early, but I still got through it, which is nice. Yeah, that book slap, it seems like really a pain in the ass to dodge, but it's really low damage. So as long as you're not too low on health, you should be fine there. And for her, I'm not going to really bother blocking because I'm trying to make sure I keep moving as quickly as possible, because when you're blocking, you slow down. So I want to just keep moving. I'm basically just waiting for her to swing. Rolling through her attacks, or just keep walking. Get in my couple of licks, and just keep up the process again. Oh, I got a stagger, and that lets me finish her off rather than keeping going. Unfortunately, a lot of her attacks hit from high damage. That little book slap isn't really anything to worry about, but the rest of that, pretty straightforward and easy to deal with. Grab the fire gem. Grab the Estus shard, because that's going to give us another Estus vial, which is really nice. I mean, I know it's not how it works. I know it's essentially you just keep having the same vial, and that's supposed to just have more uses, but whatever. Grab the ember. And then this is where we're going to stop for right here, and we're going to actually go ahead and just leave the rest of that alone for a minute. Because even though there's some more enemies down there, there's some items, that's not the direction we want to go first. The first direction we want to go... Yeah, there's a guy right here. Okay. Is across this bridge. Because there's a quest that we have to get before defeating the boss. and it's really important that we do that. Watch out for the fire bombs, because again, explosive barrels. Don't accidentally roll off the edge. I have had that happen to me. It's not fun. Alright, both these guys are going to stand up. Then try and deal with one of them before they even get going. Roll away, and then deal with the other. Again, just a real simple process. Block, melee, when they bounce off. Alright, we're going to have one of those shadowy guys drop down from the bottom. He's got literally this Y-handler. Unfortunately, these Y-handler ones tend to hit a lot harder and also have a lot more health. But it's still a pretty straightforward process. Like I said, they're really aggressive, so just block through it when he's dealt with. We're going to open this door. And I actually need to see where we're at. Okay. So we're actually kind of right where I want to be. We're going to come up here, grab this item. Wait, is that guy going to drop down, or is he just going to keep shooting from there? Looks like he's going to keep shooting from there. Alright, so what we want to do is we're going to run forward, ignore this area, and just immediately go off the side. Don't worry about the guys behind you if they're not immediately attacking you. Just run forward, run forward. Right underneath here, we're going to find a bonfire. Light it. And if you can, and it'll let you. Okay, it's not letting me because they're literally right here and he's still targeting me. So I'll just kill him real quick, come back. No, he's not targeting me, I can sit down. We're going to travel back to the last bonfire we were at. This is the Under the Bridge bonfire. This is really going to be our starting point for the second half of this area. But it's important to grab it now, because if you try and grab it later by coming around the other way, it's next to impossible because of the way it's set up. So it's just much easier to do it this way. So now we're back at this bonfire. This guy lets the dogs go again. And now that all the dogs are out there, we're going to close the gate so I don't have to deal with them. Yay! Alright, and now I'm going to go ahead and cut till I'm through this same area again. Alright, so now we're back from the cut. I ran through the building again. I didn't bother to kill the guy on the balcony because there was no point. I mean, yeah, it's more souls, so if you want to, you can, but for me personally, it's not particularly relevant. I didn't bother engaging with the guys at the tree. You can just slip right by them if you just hug the right side and come across the bridge again. I killed the few guys that came out, but I'm not going in the area this time. This time, we're going off to the side. This area is a pain. Gonna heal because we're still gonna be getting thrown at. I run through because if you block, you're still getting shot the entire time. Again, heal because we're still getting shot at. Climb up here real quick to deal with one shooter. You stand right here, the little lip next to you can usually protect you, but I guess not. Alright, that's one guy dealt with. And that's the other one dealt with. And this is the shooter we just saw that wouldn't jump down for us. Alright, now that they're all dealt with, we'll grab the item from up here. More firebombs, always nice. Remember, if you didn't take a Pyromancer, firebombs are your key to success because firebombs essentially do the same thing that the fireball spell does. You can talk to this guy, you can kill him. It honestly doesn't make a difference. He has no quest relevance. However, just a heads up, very weak to fire. So if you're going to kill him and you're a Pyromancer, I highly recommend just doing this. You have to actually aggro him, which is why I had to hit him 3 times in order to get him to actually like be lock-onable to throw the fireballs. But yeah, if you're gonna kill him like I did for the free souls, just use the fire. It makes it go a lot quicker. So we've done that. We go ahead and grab the item from above. And now we're going to come across one of the weirdest moments in this game. You want to drop down like right here where the lip is so you don't take damage, but be careful if you hit the fence the wrong way, it can slide you to the other side and then that's instant death. It's this guy right here. So yeah, he looks like a bad guy. He looks like an enemy that's going to fuck us up, right? He doesn't give a shit about us yet. What we want to do is ignore him for the moment and come deal with this item. Now this item is a particularly bitchy one because you're supposed to knock it down and then get it when you get down there way later. But we don't want to do that. We want to try and get it now. So I'm going to very carefully walk it on the rock here. Hit it. And you got to try and mash X to grab it before it falls down. If it swung a little bit better, I might have been able to get it drop here, land up here, so I could have gotten it, but unfortunately I wasn't able to. And whether you get that item or not, it doesn't really matter. It's a ring, if I remember correctly, but it's not a ring that I've ever really used, so it's not terribly important to me. But if you're a completionist, you really want it, then next time you come through here, just go ahead and run back over here and knock it down again. But this is the big thing, and the main reason why we came here. This is mound makers. So if you come up to this guy and hit X on his back to examine him, we'll go ahead and skip the cutscene. This is the boss arena, but as you can see, there's no boss. And this is why you have to do this one before you beat the boss, because otherwise the boss is in here. And what we're going to do is we're going to run through, and we're going to talk to this gentleman right here. Say indeed. Talk to him some more, and he gives you a covenant. And then a homeward bone so you can get out of here, since, as you notice, there's not a bonfire. Well, there isn't one yet. There will be once we actually defeat the boss. And then if you are working on the Mound Maker's Covenant, which you want to deal with covenants and the PvP and all that bullcrap, you can Google it, because I'm not going over that shit. But this is how you get into Mound Makers. Once the boss is beaten, you can come and pray at the altar and anything like that and deal with it at that point. But for right now, we're just going to go ahead. Wow, I'm sorry, I'm hitting the wrong thing. We're just going to go ahead and homeward bone to get out of here. And we're going to go to the bonfire we last rested at. And that brings us back to here. So I'm going to go ahead and cut again until I run back through this building and take out the tree again to get us right back to where we were before we crossed the bridge. Okay. A couple of deaths and some really stupid moves later, we're back. And now, since we cleared out over the bridge and took care of that shortcut and whatnot, let's go ahead and take care of these guys down here. I could have swung immediately, but I didn't want to burn out my stamina and then possibly take more damage, because unfortunately I took a bunch of damage clearing out the frickin' witch this time. Sometimes you get really lucky, like I did when I showed you the first time, with like the guys just staying back, or the witch staying back while you clear out the guys. Unfortunately, I was not getting that lucky with it the rest of the times I was trying it. So, it is what it is. Guy on the left, guy on the right. I think if we take out the guy on the right, it won't trigger the one on the left. So, drop him first. Yeah, no, he's not even paying attention. I'll grab this item. Okay. So as you'll notice, there's two paths here. There's one on the left and there's one right here on the right. They essentially go to the same place, but we want to go into the one on the right first. The reason why is because there's a couple enemies that sit up here above the hole. And if you leave them sitting there, then when we're doing the other path, they're just going to jump on our heads. That was really unfortunate damage. So you just come down here real quick and kill them, just so when we're going underneath here, you don't get them jumping on your heads, and you don't have to worry about that little ambush. You'll see that hole later on in a second. So now that we've taken out those two, circle back around to the other side. We open up that door. I don't think there's an item down here. Yeah, no. Okay. Let's open up that door. Oh, I forgot how dark this area is. Honestly, in later playthroughs, I don't bother coming this way. Yeah, see, I remembered one of these guys, or a couple of these guys are awake. This is the first one of the first areas you run into, those guys. They're a pain in the ass, to say the least. And it's kind of hard to tell which ones are alive and which ones aren't without actually just sitting here and smacking all of them. Anyways, with that being said, I gotta pause for a second. Okay, now back to where we were. Yes, those bodies really aren't anything, they're just the item that sits in them. Because there's a reason you want to come down the stairs first, but I guess not. I guess we're just safe to go ahead and do the drop. So, with that being said, there's a hole right here on the floor we want to drop down. And this is Estus soup. It's essentially a free Estus, so that's why I haven't healed myself, because I knew this was here to heal me back to full health. There's a Warrior of Sunlight, which this allows you to get into the Warriors of Sunlight Covenant, which is a strictly PvE covenant, where Warriors of Sunlight get points for being summoned to other players' worlds and helping them kill their bosses. So it's a really nice covenant for that regard. It's what a lot of early players will, or it's what a lot of the players will run in the like early to mid game, because it's how they basically advertise that, hey, I'm a friendly, I'm here to help you out. Because it's strictly just a friendly covenant. Go ahead and open up this door now. This is at the bottom of the stairs where we just were. Come around this corner. And now, you should be able to see, this is a great example, this one right in front of us, alive. One to our right, not alive. But unlike other ones, we can actually target this guy before we do anything. So, one fireball, one smack. We're going to go ahead and spin a little bit. And I'm mashing R3 to try and lock on to another one of the cages, see if it's even viable. This guy's a pain in the ass. Occasionally you come across against mobs like this, and they're very weird. He's kind of like a cross between like the guys we ran into outside and the little hooded guys, in that he can be very aggressive in his attacks and do a lot of damage and take you out really quickly. But if you're prepared for him, it's not that bad. But it's one of those things that, like, he's one of a kind. Like, there's nowhere else in the game that I run into this exact type of enemy. So it's one of those things that's really, you don't really remember it, and it's one of those characters that's kind of designed to just fuck you up on multiple playthroughs because you're going to forget about him. Alright, so in this room, it looks like, oh, I was going to say, it looks like it's just that one in the corner, but it looks like we got two. Don't need to worry about this guy. Like I said, I'm mashing R3 to see if I lock on to anybody else, but I'm not, so we'll go ahead and fireball this one, and then smack it. Fireball this one, and then smack it. I mean, you can just walk up and smack it twice as well. That also works. Alright, so I'm going to show you real quick. There's a path right here that goes down the backside that you can do to grab this item real quick. But then you still get stuck going back down to the same path we were just staring at. And this path... oh, this path is not fun. There's a reason why in later playthroughs you'll probably end up skipping this path. But we're going to do this path this time just so I show it to you guys. Every building in this, walk into with your shield up. Because even though this one was empty, most of them aren't. Take this guy out. Worry about this guy next. Unfortunately, the witch up there is throwing gnawing at us. So I'm just going to go ahead and outrun that to try and avoid taking any more unnecessary damage. This guy busts out, and I want to say there's still one more in the room. Yep. Ooh, I didn't shield long enough. It got me. Get the whip. Just where there's one more building on the other side that we could get into. But I guess not. Come down this little cliffside path again for another little item. Now this guy finally reaches us. You didn't see him before. He was walking down the path underneath the bridge. I was basically just waiting for him to come further. See, and that's why I've been trying to avoid the gnawing attack, because it does still hurt. Alright, well, that path is there. That area is nice and clear now. You can deal with the witch if you want to. We're not going to for the moment. Instead, what we're going to do is we're going to come over this lip. You can see the crystal lizard right there. Remember, we want to try and get those to get the special upgrade materials. There's also a bonfire right below us. Oh, I missed that ledge. Oh well. Charge down. There we go. We got the crystal lizard. Beautiful. Alright. Go ahead and run back and grab this bonfire. We're going to rest at it because we haven't actually killed any enemies. We can backtrack and kill the witch. I think we're going to anyways, because if I remember correctly, that's a place we need to go, in all honesty. Oh, that's right. This one doesn't open on that side. I'm sorry. I forgot. I'm going to Ember real quick because there is actually an invasion that happens right here by an NPC if you are embered, and I'd like to go ahead and show that. Okay. Mad Spirit. He should be purple. So Mad Spirits are the Mound Makers. You'll also notice this guy, if you have a good memory, that this is the guy that we just talked to from Mound Makers. But I'm trying to get him to come over to where we're at, because if you try and fight him over there, it's a really hard fight because of the big guy that's over there. Now he's wielding, you might notice, a very similar short sword to the Lothric Knights. And if you remember correctly, I mentioned that it was a very popular one. And this shit is exactly why. Very strong moveset. Oh, and he parried us. You bastard. This is the other reason we grabbed the bonfires, because we're literally right here. Worst case scenario, we just fucking have to pick up our souls again in a second. So since he's two-handed and sitting there with his weapon art ready, I'm going to fireball him to try and get him out of that. Go ahead and heal again. A lot of NPC invaders will rush you when you go to heal. He's going to sit back. And that's going to basically increase his damage while also damaging him at the same time. So all we're going to do now is basically block. And then the second spell he casts is to kind of offset the damage, but all we're going to do is block and dodge. We're not going to integrate, we're not going to go after him and open ourselves up until that spell wears off, because right now it's doing damage for us. So, eventually it will wear off, but in theory, if it lasted long enough, it'd kill him for us too. So like I said, I'm just going to sit back. Unfortunately, that weapon art leaves himself hugely open. When they heal is also a great time for you to push in. Unfortunately, I got over aggressive with it. I got parried. But that's okay, the spell wore off. We can heal now. Oh, he got me in the back. That's not fun. The main reason you want to kind of try and push him when he's doing that healing spell is because it's an aura spell. So if you let him just sit in that aura, he's just going to keep healing. So you either need to get close enough to encourage him to come after you, or you need to get in there and smack him a couple of times. But as you notice, it also works on us. So it's kind of a double-edged sword there. Remember, when he's two-handing is the best time to wail into him, because he needs the shield out to actually parry. I don't like how fast his sword is. Like, that's really starting to irritate me. I also don't like the fact that that spell is still sitting there. No! No! We're probably dead now. Because I'm not going to be able to handle both of these guys at once. I'm going to run to the end of the bridge and hope that the big guy leaves us alone. Oh, and he's not going to. So we're just going to roll through both. Heal with our last Estus. And keep running. If I can pull the big guy back over to here, it looks like he stopped on the bridge. keep in mind the big guy is still backtracking his way over here. So we're essentially just trying to buy time. Because once he gets back over here, we're going to make a run for the bridge again. Hodrick will follow us no matter what, but when we get a certain distance away, he'll back off. The big guy will back off. Okay, I made that comment about Hodrick following us and then I'm not seeing him. Where did he go? Oh no, he's still there. Okay. Did he lose track of us too? That's actually kind of funny to me. There we go. Cast our own weapon art. Stop doing that, you fucking prick. Have a firebomb. They usually only make the mistake of trying to heal once. From here on out, you just want to use firebombs to keep him from casting that one spell again. Since apparently the weapon art isn't doing me any favors. And I just lost all those fucking souls. Are you shitting me? Oh, I can't believe I fucking forgot that. $17,000 souls down the drain. God damn it. You do come through here. If you're still alive and you come through your embered and you lose the ember, just leave the ember out. Don't worry about it. I don't want to change equipment to other stuff that I have that I know would let me beat him, because that's not fair to you, because the stuff that I had that I know I can beat him with is the RNG stuff that I got from the Lothric Knights, and I don't want to use it. I want to stick to strictly gear that I know you can get by following the guide. Because I know for a fact that... Where is it? If I put on the broadsword or the Udachaga, if I had the skill points for it, or even probably the rapier or the straight sword, I could definitely beat him. Yeah, those weapons are fine. The other thing that would help me beat him too is if I bothered to put on the armor that was better, like the silver mask, which would give me better physical defense, but I got that from killing Leonard, which I don't recommend you do. The Lothric Knight armor would do me wonders, but again, you wouldn't have that yet. It's got Lothric Knight gauntlets, but again, you might not have gotten that drop. So it's one of those things I'm trying to stick strictly to gear that you guys will have gotten. So unfortunately, this character is now behind souls-wise, which is a bummer, but it is what it is. I will take time to grind it up later. We're going to go ahead and slip by while that guy's facing away, just so I can deal with the witch that we have up here first. Isn't there an item in here? Maybe, maybe not. I don't know. Alright, so coming from the backside, the mullet guy, if you come up here really quickly, you can get him. But we want to climb the ladder. Alright, so as you can see by the souls, I already got up here once. I died. It is what it is. We're essentially... You want to try and get the witch to knock herself off, but it's kind of difficult to do. You're essentially just kind of suiciding to get by her to get the item, which is a Titanite shard. It's used to upgrade your weapons, and I hate to say this, the other thing that I've been avoiding too is upgrading the weapon. You can upgrade the weapon to do more damage, but because you're limited on shards, I recommend waiting until you find a weapon you like. And I know for the fact that once I get the skill points, I'm going to prefer the claymore that we picked up, but I haven't got enough skill points to level up to use it yet. So that's why I'm holding off on doing any upgrading of weapons or whatnot, and that's the only reason why. So for this next part, it's kind of hard to say, but we may not want to fight this guy. So pause here. From what I remember about his attacks, they're usually very forward focused. It gives you nice big openings from the backside, but he punishes aggressiveness by being super aggressive himself. So like you see, he hit me, but then he immediately has this 4 or 5 hit combo that follows it up. Again, he hit me, big combo to follow it up. Oh, and I jumped in too soon. Like I said, he likes to punish aggressiveness with being over-aggressive himself. If you decide to try and roll back, you're going to have to keep rolling back, so I highly recommend rolling through his attacks, because his attacks can be very straightforward. The problem is with how wide his arc is, your best opening to hit him is when he starts smacking the ground a bunch. If you don't want to fight him, just basically wait till he walks back up the path a bit, and then you can sprint right through for the most part, because this next part you're going to see, the archer's about to make us friends. So we're going to get to about here, and then we're just going to stop. The archer doesn't default target us. He usually default targets the enemies. So if there's enemies nearby, he'll usually fire at them first. However, if you stand still too long, the arrows still come after you. So the trick, in all honesty, is you keep moving, and you keep having the enemies get pulled into the area where you just were, so if he fires at you, it still hits them, and if he fires at them, they usually don't move fast enough to actually get hit. But what you can do is essentially lure them a little bit, and then run back to that archway, and that archway is a safe spot. Now you're going to trying to be quick. Don't stop for more than 2 or 3 grabs at a time, because rolling, as you just saw, I was mid-roll, doesn't work. We don't want to go through that doorway just yet. We actually want to get that guy to come out by getting close enough to lure him out and then pull him back. We got hit, but so did that guy. It's okay. Again, just grabbing a few more. And then we're going to keep moving. Oof. Remember, we don't want to go through that door just yet. We actually want to run up the hill here. Because up at the top of the hill here, there's a set. I don't even care about this dude because an arrow's about to come through. And when we're over here, we want to grab the Mortician's Ashes. And then run back to the archway. It's a little circle around the center of the graveyard there. And the reason we ran back to the archway is because I was expecting the little guy to follow more, but he didn't. So again, we're running through, just grabbing the items. Jump. The area, despite appearances, is not connected, so if you don't jump, you do die no matter what. I only have 800 souls. I'm not really worried about them this time. I might run out there and I'm going to show you the item. And when I grab it, because I don't remember what it is, I'll tell you point blank right then and there if it's worth it or not. The other thing you can do, since there's a bonfire right here, you can also go back to Farling's Shrine, spend as much of your souls as you can, and then run back through at that point and just kind of suicide for it. Because even though the jump over to it is really easy, the jump back is usually where I mess up and fall and die anyways. So again, we're just running through. Don't even care about those guys. Going for the item. Undead Bone Shards, that's actually really worth it. And we'll come back to Undead Bone Shards in a second here. Grab our whole 800 souls. I don't even care about that guy for the moment because I'm more worried about this one. Get up, get up, get up. And we're actually going to suicide this by running back outside. Because even though I can't handle all those guys at once in there, if I run outside and they follow me, the archer can. If you're full sprint while holding circle, then you don't really have anything to worry about. The archway is a safe space because he doesn't target you here, but he was already locked on when you ran into it. Yeah, he still shoots you. Unfortunately, since we ran through and I didn't kill the big guy, he was there too, so I'm gonna grab the item from this guy, and then we're gonna run inside the house, which still has enemies. Who I managed to stagger by rolling into, which was really fortunate, because that normally doesn't work. Alright, we'll heal ourselves up again. Come up the stairs. You gotta do a running jump to get across this, and it's a scythe. I remember this item at least. Alright, we made great progress so far. They're going to come down here. And the path's going to fork. To the left is an opening, and to the right is a door. We want to ignore the path opening to the left, because that's the boss. That big old pile of tree in the corner there. And this door we're going to open up, because this door brings us around to the back side of that bonfire we lit earlier, and then teleported away from. I'm not even going to worry about the witch right now. I'm just going to sprint up these stairs right here to the right. Immediately cut over and stick to the cliff edge. There's an item, and then a dude that comes up the cliffside. Make sure you don't get hit by the guy coming up the cliffside. He will mess you up. Then we're going to climb further up here. As you see, there is a big guy. Our goal here is going to be try and get a backstab, but I don't know if we actually can get one. Oh boy. So the urn guys you got to be careful of, because they can actually throw that urn at you and then pull out a saw blade just like the other guy had. So if you get too far away, he'll whip it at you, and it's really fast and really hard to dodge. So usually I recommend staying actually relatively close, even though it is more dangerous that way. Because the urn is actually an easier weapon to deal with than the saw blade, because the urn he only has 2 or 3 attacks too, and they're usually pretty slow and straightforward to deal with. Alright, so this is literally the other side of that bridge. We're basically just going to sprint straight over that bridge and drop down again to get back to that bonfire. We're going to go ahead and rest at this bonfire to refill our Estus. And now we'll go out the other side of it. So when you go out the other side, it brings you stairs and brings you up on the roofs. And this is actually the really important part, because you need to be up on the roof to go back up here and deal with these guys. As you might have caught on by now, because there's multiple guys up here that just like to chuck firebombs, and the entire area below is filled with explosive barrels. Yeah, they're such a nice crowd. But the other important part about coming up here is this gentleman right here. I ain't going to attempt to pronounce his name. The hand axe, whatever. But he is the man that teaches pyromancies. So if you ask him to learn pyromancies, he magically teleports out of the cage all by him frickin' self and goes back to Farland Shrine to teach pyromancies. So if you want to follow the pyromancies tree, that's your boy right there. If you're not going to do anything with pyromancies except the base fireball, then But for most of the game, I get through with the base fireball, but in the end game, there's some spells that he teaches you that are really, really nice. So I recommend getting him no matter what, because you also need him in order to upgrade your Pyromancer's hand, the thing that you have where you're essentially holding the flame like this. That's called Pyromancer's hand, and you essentially need that to be leveled up in order to actually have stronger spells, and then it also allows you to use more. So we're going to send him back either way, and then we're going to go ahead and drop down. And now that we've taken out those guys, we'll come here and we're going to have to fight the big guy again, unfortunately. But that's okay, because as I mentioned before, his moveset with the urn, pretty simple. I won't lie, I got overzealous there. Ate through all my stamina, but he's dead again. And now that we're not getting fireball struck at us, we can actually stop and grab this item. Woo! And there's also an item all the way down here on the very edge of this cliff. The Fire Clutch Ring. Fire Clutch Ring is kind of nice for certain builds, but I don't recommend wearing it out of the gate. It does increase your fire damage, but it also makes you more susceptible to other damage, so it can be very finicky. Alright. So now we've dealt with that. If you come out from under the bridge, you come out on top of the roofs, you can actually drop down right here, and if you aim for that ledge and like the cage, you usually hit the cage and slide onto the ledge, and it pretty much negates any fall damage you get from it, so you can just keep coming back to this bonfire. Because now that we dealt with all the rest of that area, we don't actually need to go back to any part of that area. We can if we want to, if we decide we're going to fight Hodrick and actually kill him. But for right now, we don't have to worry about that for the most part. If you want to, these guys are free souls. Actually, I just looked, they don't give any souls. I could have swore they gave like a couple, but I guess not. I see the witch up there. I don't really want to fight her, but I know there's an item over here next to the dog. Okay, it looks like she's coming back down, but she left her doggy up there, and that was luckily enough, so. Nine's coming at us, gonna roll through it. Nine coming at us, roll through it. Could you not? Nine coming at us, roll through it. Nine coming at us, roll through it. And yeah, I completely understand the fact that rolling through the spell should not work at all. But, you know. Fire hug, dodge that. Remember, you want to wait till she takes the step forward to actually dodge with the fire hugs. Because if you do it sooner, and you still get caught. I need a heal, so could you die, please? Thank you. Alright, now that she's dealt with, we'll come up here and deal with these guys for some free souls. I do have to try and recoup some of the losses I took earlier when I unfortunately hemorrhaged out freaking 17,000 souls to this stupid Hodrick. But if you want to play it safer than I did, you can go ahead and just keep going back to the bonfire every time you get enough for like a couple of souls. I have done this guide so far, and I literally haven't gone back to Firelink Shrine once to level up, so that was my own fault. You probably won't be that uncautious, and you'll probably take the time to actually, you know, stop and do everything, which is nice. Yes, there's guys to the left, but we're actually going to just hug the right side so we don't trigger them, because as I mentioned before, those urn guys will chuck the urns at us if we start to approach. We're going to need to just stick to the right-hand side and actually approach the sewer gate over here. Deal with the dog real quick, which I hate the fact that he sits close enough that he does that, but if you stay locked onto him by him staying really close, you can just do a plunging attack on him, which is nice. Heal up before you reach that fog. That fog hides a giant rat plus a couple little guys. That gate is currently locked, and we're actually about to stop and go get the key for it. The rats tend to be just like dogs in that they tend to have a lunge attack that if you just block through, tends to bounce them off and give you a nice big opening. I mean, this should be the big guy. And he gives us the blood bite ring, which I believe is bleed resistance. Anyways, I don't believe there's anything up here. It's just a matter of you open up the gate. Now that we've reconnected, this is going to be one of our first times actually going back to Firelink. The reason why is because the ashes we grabbed we're going to give to the handmaiden, and that should allow us to buy the key to that gate that we just saw in the sewer.